Kia ora, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Cobblestones Chronicles. And it's Matariki, and hasn't it been lovely celebrating Matariki, sharing kai with family and friends and cousins and all kinds of people? At Cobblestones, we've been celebrating Matariki too. With last weekend, we had a Saturday full of exciting events at Cobblestones, where we had lots of kids in making stars for Matariki in the schoolroom. We also had a poi making workshop, which was run by lovely Simone and Mahi and Christina. And we had Discover Matariki presentation in the evening, which we had a packed out church, which was where we were doing the Matariki presentation, and everybody raved about it, said how good it was. So we're just having fun. And I mean, Matariki is just such a special time of year. It reminds me very much of the way we celebrate New Year in Scotland. It's very similar. You get together with your family and your friends. You go visiting, you share food, you talk about the year past, and you talk about your hopes for the year coming up. So I've had a really good time, and we've had lots of visitors over the last couple of weeks, and we've even met some cousins that my husband's cousins that we didn't even know lived close by in Featherstone. So that was very exciting. We're looking forward to seeing them again soon. So I want to play a song now, which I think you'll enjoy. It's called Here's a Song for You, and it's sung by Chris Priestley. It was written by Paul Metzler, who's a very well-known New Zealand songwriter and performer. But in this case, it's sung by Chris Priestley and a whole load of musicians from all around the country. It's off of a CD called Uncovered, a collection of New Zealand folk songs. And if you listen to the words, the lyrics, because it talks about for the future from the past, and really that makes me think about Matariki. So in just a moment, here we go.
Here is a song for you. It's been a long time waiting. Now that I've set it free, who knows what road it's taking. For the future from the past, here is a song for you at last. Smile for you, like the seed that's sown will not deny its birth, will push aside the stone. Though its growth is seldom fast, here is a smile for you at last. A hand for you, it's offer freely given, all failings understood, all frailties forgiven. The die of love is gently cast, here is a hand for you at last. song for you. It's been a long time waiting, now that I've set it free. Who knows what road it's taking for the future from the past. Here is a song for you at last. For the future from the past, here is a song for you at last.
Isn't that a beautiful song? As I said, it was written by Paul Metzer, and there it's sung by Chris Priestley with, I think the guitar music playing is by Nigel Gavin, who's one of New Zealand's best guitar players. So at Cobblestones, we have a lot of agricultural machinery and dairy and all kinds of domestic machinery as well. And over the weekend, it was delightful to see children climbing up on the old tractor and pretending to drive it. It was great. And one of the things that seems to fascinate a lot of people are the washing machines. So when I look at the washing machines we have at Cobblestones, and for those of you watching on TV, there's a picture of one of our oldest washing machines coming up, which is basically a barrel. It's half a barrel on stilts with a kind of a paddle in the middle of it. It's got a wheel that you turn, because that turns the paddle and washes, that's the agitator to wash the clothes. And then we have a wringer on the side of it, so you put the clothes through the wringer. And my husband tells me he remembers one of his brothers getting his whole arm caught in the wringer while he was supposedly helping mum do the washing. But it just took all day, because you can see why it would have taken such a long time. And particularly when you're out on the farm, your clothes get really mucky anyway. And my mother-in-law, I really feel for her, because she must have had a very busy life, because they were down on the farm and she had her husband and she had 4 boys, so you can imagine how much washing they made. When I look at these, and I just think, because I'm the kind of person who has every known kitchen gadget to help in the house with the housework, but for those people there, they didn't have that. And they made their own butter. And we at Cobblestones, we have a couple of old butter making implements that we're going to be demonstrating on the 24th of July, Saturday the 24th of July at the Country Fete. We're going to be showing people how butter was made. So that'll be quite good fun. For those of you watching on TV, I'm just about to show you a picture. Here we go. So at Cobblestones, on our open days, we do demonstrations of how things happened, and quite a lot of us get dressed up in Victorian style clothes, daft as we are, and we let particularly children see what happened. So it's all about celebrating how our ancestors lived in the Wairarapa, and in fact it's very similar to what happened throughout New Zealand. And so you can see the old washing machines in action, and you can see what they had to do. We were having a big clear out. We've been having a clear out recently, and we found some 70-year-old soap, which seemingly still works. So there was a big label on it on this box of soap that was supposedly 70 years old. So we're going to give it a try, see what happens. We have a copper at outside the wash house at Cobblestones, and it's really interesting to see how that happens. I can remember vaguely my grandmother washing clothes in a copper in a wash house when I was really small. So yeah, that just shows how old I was. She had a scrubbing board, she had a copper, and she also had a wringer, and it seemed to get the clothes pretty clean. So I want to play you another song now, because this is a song from an EP by a lady called Rachel Doig, and it's called Dirty Linen, this CD. And this is a really interesting CD, because Rachel is really interested in the history of folk music, and she collects stories about what happened, and the history of various women who were part of the making of New Zealand. And this song is called Washerwoman Blues, and it's talking about how she's been left. The woman has been left with 10 children. Her husband's gone off somewhere. She doesn't know where. She doesn't know when he'll be back. And because men went off to work, this quite often happened, and women wouldn't know when the men were going to come back, because there weren't cell phones in those days. In fact, although there was post, it wasn't always very reliable, and in fact sometimes people didn't even know how to write very well. So this is called Washerwoman Blues, and it's about what sometimes happened in New Zealand.
Well, I'm laying out my dirty linen, bleaching it clean, trying to make a living, keeping house and the weeds. I've got those washerwoman blues, those washerwoman blues. My old man left me here on my own with 14 kids and a great big loan. I've got those washerwoman blues, those washerwoman blues. Well, it's been 6 months now since he left me here. Not a penny cent, nor a clue where he went. I've got those washerwoman blues, those washerwoman blues. As far as I know, he's dead and gone. Gotta find me another man to right this wrong. 'Cause a woman on a road bears a heavy load as she trudges on through that lonesome road. She'll have those washerwoman blues, those washerwoman blues, those washerwoman blues.
That's Those Washerwoman Blues, written, researched and sung by Rachel Doig. She's got a number of really great songs, and I'll be playing them over the coming weeks, especially as I tell you more about the women story of being the part of the early settlers. At the moment, on the At the moment, if you're watching on TV, you'll see a picture of two of our very great volunteers, Lorraine Curtis and her sister Diane, who come along and demonstrate how to do washing. It's incredibly kind of them, and they do a great job of particularly showing the children how to do it. Okay, so sometimes it's quite interesting because sometimes what might be thought of as old junk lying in a paddock has had a major role in the development of the society that we have here. Growing things, whether they're animal or vegetable, has formed the basis of our survival, and farm machinery, especially the plough, has become vital. Pioneer after pioneer was to discover that burning off tussock and bush, then ploughing the soil, produced prime growing conditions for the type of English grasses that make good pasture and lucerne. Farmers, often with little money to spare on a new implement, have used ingenuity to invent new tools or adapt their existing ones. I mean, where do you think the phrase number 8 wire comes from? That's such a New Zealand phrase, it's fantastic. That was a quote from a book written by Clive Lind, Until the Cows Came Home. And we have a lot of implements from through the ages at Cobblestones. And one of our trustees at the moment is setting up what's going to be a very interesting exhibition along our back fence, showing how everything about haymaking, from making, planting, making the cutting with using a scythe, how that developed into the huge kind of machines we have today. And he's working on it now, so watch this space for a few months' time. The Clydesdale Horse Society cited an article from 1839 headed Horse versus Motor that claimed using a truck and driver for refuse removal cost 10 shillings an hour, whereas a horse-drawn driver cost 3 shillings and sixpence. They said it does not take an economist to see what this meant. An argument on the other side was that horses required feeding all day, every day, whereas a tractor only ate on the job, and so on. Sometimes transition is a generational thing. The next generation after the 1939 article adopted the new mechanical technology, and consequently Clydesdale horses would drop in number and value from £60 per Clydesdale horse to £15. The other thing that caused significant change, particularly in New Zealand, was the war. Following the outbreak of both world wars, farmers turned towards using tractors because of the shortage of farm labour. Also, furthermore, horse feed prices increased during World War I as horses were involved in the war those days, and we sent a lot of horses to Europe. So as happens today, warfare made money for some, but not everybody. I'm sure you know that ploughs dig up the earth in preparation for its cultivation, and there are lots of variations. They can have one or more furrows, be they deep or shallow, and can be used in swamps, the hillside, or on flat land. They've been pulled by men, horses, bullocks, and tractors. So at Cobblestones, we aim to show you the whole range so that you can get an idea of how it worked in early days. I do want to tell you a little bit about the activities at Cobblestones over the next couple of weekends. So next weekend, on the 17th of July, we're having a very Victorian Christmas where we'll have lots of people going around wearing Victorian costume. And we're very lucky in that we have one of our volunteers who's a real expert in Victorian costume. Her name is Judith Amis, and you'll see her doing her very good impersonation of Queen Victoria, wearing stunning outfits that she has made from very often from original patterns, and her husband Peter, who has a very interesting looking moustache that he twirls in the best way that the baddies in all the silent movies twirled their moustaches. You'll also have the opportunity of seeing a couple of silent movies at Cobblestones, because we are going to run a couple of early movies. One of them is Buster Keaton, The Neighbours, which is a version of Romeo and Juliet, but it has a happy ending. And it has live piano accompaniment with a chap called Gilbert Hazeman, who does this very, very well in the way that they used to do it in late Victorian times, obviously, for movies. And I think the other one is going to be a Laurel and Hardy, which is always everyone's favourite. And of course, they have a chase, which all the best movies have. So they have a chase through the streets of Los Angeles, but not quite the way they're done today in the movies, and these chases really happened. And then on the 24th of July, we're having a country fete with all the fun of the fair, with sack races, three-legged races, a tug of war. We're going to have a beer tent with people serving beer. We're going to have lots of delicious food for sale, and we're going to have a lot of fun at that one too. And then at the end of the month, we have transport through the ages, where we're going to have lots of different modes of transport, which will be a lot of fun. Now, I'm just going to play you a final track. And this track is by Gumboot Tango. Now, Gumboot Tango are a bush band, I think you could call them. And this one is this track is written by Mike Harding, and it's called Common Ground. And I think it's really appropriate for this time of the year with Matariki, because we do find common ground with other people around us, with our whānau, with our friends, with our neighbours. So enjoy this track, Common Ground.
Common, we all come as one, all gathered together to show our concern, exploring our grievances, sharing ideas in the one place that nobody owns. Common ground where all can meet, common ground in park and street, common ground to share our concern, common ground where all come as one. A long time past, the common fell to the fence, the last of the land for all folk to share. Mountains and parks may be all we have left, and our malls, the new village square. Common ground where all can meet, common ground in park and street, Common ground to share our concern. Common ground where all come as one. Discord is threatened as issues divide. Rich woman, poor man, black or white child, city or farm, old from the young, black or white, but no shades in between. Common ground where all can meet. Common ground in park and street. Common ground to share our concern. Common ground where all come as one. Common ground where all can meet. Common ground in park and street. Common ground to share our concern. Common ground where all come as one.
That's Cobblestones Chronicles for this week. I'm looking forward to talking to you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.